I just got home from watching the all-new Batman movie by Matt Reeves starring Robert Pattinson. Consider this your spoiler warning. What is up, y'all? On this episode of G.I. Joel at the Movies, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and review on the all-new Batman movie by Matt Reeves. Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any future updates or episodes. Alright, so to start off with my kind of general thoughts, I found this movie really enjoyable. I didn't go into it with the highest expectations. I've been pretty open in the past that I wasn't super hyped for this film. And I'm well aware of all the hype kind of circulating around this movie. I just personally didn't get caught up into it. I love Batman as much as the next person, but it was yet another Batman movie to me. And I feel like over the last decade or so, and at least in my lifetime, we've had plenty of Batman movies, from Kilmer to Christian Bale. I've been alive for all of those, right? And kind of not having those expectations going into the film and just kind of going in to watch a movie, I think made it even more enjoyable for me. So to start off, the obvious kind of big thing about this movie that I really loved was the acting, especially from Robert Pattinson. I think he did a fantastic job both as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. And I think he did a really good job of kind of showing the separation between the two. Showing that the Bat is one person and Bruce is another. And how the Batman, in most ways, is Bruce's true self. And that was obviously a very big theme within the movie, that the mask allows you to be who you truly are. And one scene that really stood out to me in particular that I really think kind of showed Pattinson's take on the character, Reeves' take on the character, that was really well done, was the scene where he was fleeing from the GCPD. He gets up to the roof of the GCPD building after they had, kind of taken him into custody, and he stops for a moment when he gets to the edge of the roof. Right before he jumps, he stops, and you can tell he is freaked out, which I thought was a really humanizing and real moment. He's only been doing this for 2 years. He probably hasn't had a chance to test out his cape when it comes to kind of taking him off of high ledges like that. So the fact that he stopped for a moment and was scared was incredible, because we're so used to seeing Batman be already perfect at what he does. So used to seeing Batman already able to do everything without question, without doubt. So being able to see that kind of humanizing moment was really great. Another thing that I think they did really well when it comes to Batman, and it's something that we don't get in the live action adaptations very much, is showing how truly compassionate he is. Batman is a compassionate and caring person, and they don't really show this compassionate side of him in most adaptations. It's very much dark, gritty, serious, and in this one, we get to see him be compassionate. When he goes and sees the mayor's son, both at the funeral and at the crime scene, you can see the look in his eyes that he truly cares for this child, that he truly feels this child's pain, and showing a really compassionate, caring Batman. And that's something that I'm glad we finally get to see on the big screen. And all of the supporting cast in this movie were great as well. Jeffrey Wright was a fantastic Jim Gordon. Zoe Kravitz did great as Selena Kyle. And I was pleasantly surprised by Colin Farrell. I'm a Colin Farrell fan, I guess, to an extent, but I'm a bigger fan of the Penguin in the comic books, and I really liked Farrell's kind of interpretation on it. I think he did a really great job kind of diving into the character. And one of the things I really liked too was kind of how Jeffrey Wright, Jim Gordon and Robert Pattinson were playing off of each other. It felt very buddy cop-ish at times, which I found really enjoyable, because Jim Gordon is a really important character. I don't feel like he gets enough screen time in any of the other movies that he's been in, and he plays a big part in his relationship with Batman. He is kind of the Batman within the system. If you read Year One, it kind of goes into that and how he tried to change the system the same way that Bruce is trying to, but he tried to do it from the inside and it didn't work. So kind of showing this relationship between these two, I think, was absolutely fantastic. When it comes to like the cinematography and the overall directing style, I really appreciated a lot of Matt Reeves' choices. One thing in particular, there wasn't a single establishing shot throughout the entire movie. And it really made it feel like Gotham was another character in this. Being on the street and keeping everything kind of at eye level, it really felt like you were in the street with Batman, and it really made Gotham feel like its own character and feel like this very real, visceral place. In terms of writing and pacing, the plot of this movie was really nothing special. And that's not to say it was bad. I'm not saying it was bad. It just wasn't super inventive in any way. And it really felt like Matt Reeves was watching Seven like on repeat while writing this movie. I mean, there are a lot of similarities between this and Seven, and I love Seven. Not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying when you're watching it, you'll be like, this is kind of like watching Seven, but with Batman. Say where this film suffered the absolute most was in its pacing. This is a 3 hour and 3 minute movie, and you feel every minute of it. And I personally think they could have trimmed off a good 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, and it would have still landed in the same way. He still would have gotten the same result. But yeah, it is a bit long. It especially drags kind of towards the third act, and from the middle of the third act to the end, I was checking my watch quite a few times. So in conclusion, the aspect that stuck out to me the most in this movie was by far the acting and the kind of grasp on the characters that these actors had, as well as the writing. Other than that, the cinematography was excellent. The writing was good, but it really hurt in the pacing and just in kind of the overall flow of the movie. It felt like it took a really long time to get where we were going. So overall, I will give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend, if you have the time to sit through a 3-hour movie, to check it out while it's still in theaters. So let me know in the comments, have you seen The Batman? Are you going to be seeing it? And I'll see you in the next video.